No, I wouldn't say that. All over the world, there's a limitation to what one can say. There's freedom of speech and the rest of them, but there's also a limitation to that. If you decide to start libeling people and engaging in publishing or saying things that are not true, you're also liable. So that is why we have the law on libel and sedition. And as a student of law, I also know that that is obtainable in Nigeria. So if you say anything contrary that you cannot be able to substantiate, the full weight of the law will be imposed on you. Only that due to the cyberspace, a much wider space have been added to what we used to have, and that is what is happening. So I wouldn't say there has been some serious clamp-down on freedom of speech and the rest. Although security agencies have once in a while been able to overreach themselves directly or indirectly, and that make it to seem so. But for me, I think for now, I don't think as much is as bad as most people thought. But Jalingo wasn't the first person that was picked up. I actually was the first person that was picked up. And I remember in 2015, I was arrested with one other person, and we were the guinea pig that were used to test the 2015 cybercrime law.
Okay.
And I know that I spent 13 days at Ikoyi prison for a publication I erroneously posted on social media. So he is not the first. There have been some others before then. But as I said, there are laws on ground now that is taking care of such issues as to cybercrime or issues that have to relate with the publications on the social media or internet and rest of them. So, but I know that that some security agencies have also tried to overreach themselves in trying to play some roles which could be contrary to the Constitution, and trying to dance to the tone of some politicians, as it were, as in the case of Agba Jalingo. But good enough, he's out of it, and the case is still on. Yeah, I personally think that it's unnecessary. My organization, the Guild of Professional Bloggers, of which I'm the national president, and also think that that bill is unnecessary. The 2015 social media cybercrime law is now a law. It's no longer a bill. That was signed into law by the outgoing president then, President Goodluck Jonathan, has taken care of most of these things that is being raised and all over again. And I also believe that if we have challenges, we'll have issues with that, we can always amend the Constitution. The Constitution is always there for amendment. But if you take time to read that, I see that the field, as we say, the field was well covered, as we say in law, well covered, and there are sanctions that has been imposed on anybody that goes contrary to that. So, which is why the outcry then and also now is germane. And I know that in the next few days, I think it's going to be on Monday, there's going to be a hearing on that particular bill, where people and organizations such as ours, the Guild of Professional Bloggers, have been invited to also make a presentation. And ours is that we still believe that we have the problem we always have in Nigeria is not that of law. We always have laws. We always have laws in Nigeria. We have law covering practically everything. The problem we've always had is implementation of the law, and how the law enforcement agencies are able to use that effectively to be able to address some of the issues at stake. And that of the issue of social media, cybercrime, or whatever you name it, is not out of place. So we have a law in place that can be able to handle that. Well, it is within the powers of the National Assembly to enact laws. That's why we elected them to amend laws. That is where they were elected. And also have some level of oversight functions on the executive, as it were. So if there's need, they think that there's need for them to come up with, anybody can come up with a law. It's not only the national, as an individual, you can present a law as a private bill to the National Assembly. We have executive laws also that are presented by the executive.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? So anybody can present anything. But the fact is that we are saying that it is just a waste of taxpayers' money for us to be going through this hug. Everybody comes into National Assembly and just think that we just come up with any law. Somebody was just coming up with one for rehabilitation and the rest of them for Boko Haram and the rest of them. So I believe some of these senators don't seem to have much to do. They should do more research and look at areas that will affect Nigerians, where we can be able to elevate ourselves from the current problem we are having, issue of poverty alleviation, which is very key. Insecurity is very, very key. The economy is very, very key. The latest borrowing and rest of them is making things going to make things very difficult. We are having issue of health, coronavirus, and the rest of them. We are having unemployment, which is also one of the reasons for the high level of insecurity we have we have so many issues bedeviling us than anybody's just sitting down and look. I'm not saying that we don't have challenges in the area of social media or whichever one. Yes, yeah. Across the globe, cybercrime has become a big issue. I've said it that the third or fourth world war is not going to be a conventional war where people will be fighting themselves with guns and ammunition and rest. It's going to be a cyber war. Already we've already seen that. You remember what happened in the last election in the United States of America, where Russia influenced the outcome of the election.
The US
election, which was key. Then in other places and rest of them, you have seen what has been happening where people have been hacking into bank accounts, where people have been hacking, organizations, some people across the globe just hacking to government database, bank database, and the rest of them. Cybercrime is becoming a very, very, very big issue across the globe. So I also think that some issues should be there, but not a situation where you just wake up and say, oh, anybody caught for such crime or cybercrime should be killed or should be. Although there's a caveat there that if you be able to make certain allegation or you be able to engage any publication that could lead to the death of somebody, so there's need for you also to be sentenced to death and the rest of them. Well and good, which is why I said that if they feel that what we have presently with the 2015 cybercrime law, then they can call for an amendment. Laws are meant to be amended at any given point in time. We're already having an amendment to the electoral law, which has been put in place. There are so many amendments we had. In the past, where the electoral law, where litigation could go for years. You know that very well. Yeah. But now it has been contained with the amendment of the electoral law. It has been contained that for a certain period, about 180 days maximum, anything concerning any level of election must be settled, either at the Supreme Court level, at the Court of Appeal level, or at the tribunal level, which is why you are seeing this kind of submissions and judgment coming in, just the one happening by us. We are just a day before the swearing of a governor, a judgment came in from the Supreme Court. That wasn't the place. I remember really a particular one that for years, almost 2.5 years or going to 3 years, Aregbesol's case was in court before it was finally disposed of and the rest of them. So those are the issues. So I am not saying that there is no need for us to look at or amend our laws. But what I'm saying is that we already have for this, we already have a law in place. You need to go and read that law to be able to understand what I'm talking about. There's no profession in the world where you don't have quacks. And if there's no regional, there will not be quack. We have fake doctors, we have fake engineers, we have fake teachers, we have fake journalists. So definitely you also have fake bloggers and the rest of them. And to also make it a bit much difficult, is a cyberspace that is not governed by any kind of regulation, sort of.
Okay.
Anybody that has a phone and with 100 naira data can just go online and publish and write anything. Facebook, through your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the rest of them. There's no way to be able to checkmate that. It's very, very difficult. Which is why an organization like ours was set up for us to be able to see if we can be able to stabilize that and be able to bring some level of professionalism into the art of blogging and the rest of them. And we've been trying to do that. Part of what we've done when we started was to be able to set up an ethics committee. The function of the ethics committee is to be able to look at and be able to set a kind of standard sort of for anybody who wants to engage in this kind of. It's a business now. It's no longer, it is a business. People are making millions engaging in online publications and the rest of them. In fact, to a large extent, most people believe that the conventional publications are going out of circulation. personally, I don't know when last you bought a newspaper, but definitely you read newspapers every day online. So your platform is online. I don't need to watch you on conventional television. I go online and I just hook up to your YouTube page. I watch you. I can watch you on the go. You understand what I'm trying to say? So what is this? So there is a paradigm shift from the conventional to online, and that in itself comes with a lot of. Practically everybody has become a journalist on the go. Okay, because people. News are coming up, issues are coming up, and the rest of them. But the problem is that we, you and I, are professional journalists. We are trained in the art of the 5W and the H. Okay, so we can be able to dissect what makes news, how to be able to apply it where necessary and how necessary. But people that don't have such privilege of going through the rudiments of journalism, of going through, don't know what it takes. Somebody will just pick up anything and just drop. And problem also is that verification. Most often than not, you have to realize that some of these items are not verified. I've said it that we don't think there's a need for any other law. And our stand is not different from that of Nigerian Guild of Editors. It is not different from that of Nigerian Union of Journalists and other civil societies who also believe that we don't need it. For now, we can straighten our laws. But strengthening is one thing. Another thing is also to be able to make sure that those caught to be engaging in such are properly prosecuted as a hint, as to be able to, as a deterrent to others. There are a lot of things. I give it to everyone that a lot of things, falsehood is going to the social media or online. Even myself, a few days ago, even as the president of Guild of Professional Bloggers of Nigeria, just a few days back, there was a fake news about me. Somebody published something about me. I wrote that a pastor was engaging a woman in sex and blah, 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 blah. And they just put my picture on the publication. Yes. I see you shoot me. Yes, my picture was put. And when we got to, when our station got to see it, we were able to trace the guys and say that what you're doing no good. Why are you doing that? They just wanted to malign me and the rest of them. The guy was heady. We have to, because we have the mechanism to be able to trace. There is nothing that is published on the net that my association cannot be able to trace. We can trace from wherever it's coming from, irrespective of wherever you post it from the world. And we're able to trace it and be able to find the IP addresses, find the host and the rest of them. And we have to write to the hosts and threaten the host, not the local again, but the host in the United States. And then because the United States is a country that believes so much on issues like that. And within hours, it was brought down and the rest of them. I was still going ahead to see if we can be able to bring the guy to book. Those are the kind of things that we should be talking about and try to prevent. But tries to waste energies and time on trying to raise another law, going to public hearing and the rest of them, spending money and the rest of them, for me is not necessary. And that is the position of my guild.